What do you call a car that runs out of gas in Africa? An out of gas car. Welcome to Oxman Garage. Make sure you like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. We got Mustang, Thunderbird, F-150 tool reviews. So you got to smash that subscribe button and like this video. So in this video, we're going to be focusing on fuel for my 96 Predator swapped Thunderbird. So everything you see on this table, we're going to be throwing in the Thunderbird, and I'll kind of give you a quick tour of what we got here. So first off, this is a Aeromotive 15-gallon capacity, all aluminum construction. It's got a 5.0 brushless pump on top, and this pumps out 5 gallons per minute. It's absolutely insane. This is the same fuel cell that they've used in the Copo Camaro, some Mopar track pack cars, and the Cobra Jet Mustang. Next we have VMP Performance fuel rails, and these are the fuel rails that'll work on the newer GT500 Shelby Cobra. And attached to the fuel rails we have ID injectors. This is the ID 1300X, and this is going to work perfectly with my setup. So next we have the 4 Innovations fuel pressure regulator, and this is the F2i model. This has dash 10 fittings for the supply and the return. Next we have the 4 Innovations stainless steel braided PTFE lines, and this is the dash 10, so this is going to be the supply and the return. Next we have the Red Horse Performance fuel filter. This is an all aluminum billet construction fuel filter. Both ends twist off to expose the fuel filter element, which is a stainless steel 10 micron filter. And then lastly, we have Red Horse Performance PTFE fittings. They're going to go on the hose and all the other attachments. So we're going to go step by step. We're going to get this in the car and we're going to get fueled up. All right, guys, so we're in the trunk of the car. I got 3 components in here. First, I have the supercharger intercooler tank that's located right here. I have rubber lines that run all the way to the engine bay from my old setup when I had a VMP supercharger with an intercooler. Second, we have a Aeromotive 15-gallon fuel cell, and this is the 340 Stealth. And then lastly, over here, we got the battery box where I kept the battery. So the 2 things in the trunk that are going to be leaving are the intercooler tank and the battery. The battery is going to go back in the engine bay, and the intercooler tank is going to go back in the engine bay. So the only thing that's going to stay in the trunk will be the fuel cell. So I'm going to remove all 3 of these things. We're going to clean up the trunk and make it nice and pretty. So off camera, I was able to remove a lot of those components. Got the intercooler pump removed with the wiring, the battery with the shutoff removed, the intercooler tank, all the coolant hoses. And then I have the fuel cell out here just evaporating whatever's left in there after I dumped the rest of it out. And then the fuel lines as well. I'm going to be selling all this stuff and try and recoup a little bit of cash for the new parts that are going on. All right, so we got the carpet up, and underneath there was some surface rust that was on the spare tire storage here on the bottom where this oval plug is. And I just wanted to take care of the rust, so I went and bought some Rust-Oleum rust dissolver, and this is kind of like in a gel form. So I put this on a paintbrush, and I just applied liberally wherever there was surface rust. And I also had some surface rust on the bottom. And then where the fuel tank was, I think a lot of moisture collects under there. So I had some surface rust where where I had the fuel tank, the stock fuel tank before. So I took care of all the surface rust, and this rust dissolver stuff really works. It works in like 30 minutes. And then I use this Rust-Oleum 2-in-1 Reform and Seal. And this stuff is kind of nasty. You want to wear a respirator, eye pro, gloves. You don't want to get this on your hands. So this is really nice because you can just apply this to rust and it'll seal it. But I didn't want any surface rust, so I got rid of the rust, and I really just use this as the sealer. So really good products. I'll put a link in the description of where you can find these products. And then now we're just going to put the carpet back in, and we'll put the fuel cell bracket back in and start putting everything back together in the trunk. All right, so we got the bracket in place. It's bolted down. It's really sturdy. Next, got these steel straps that go on like so. Okay, and then I have this rubber isolator strip. And when we tighten that big C strip on the top, it's not going to be compressing that aluminum down and damaging the fuel cell. So it's going to kind of give it a little bit of a cushion so it doesn't damage it. So, and install the fuel cell. All right, so now we got the fuel cell all bolted in. It's really sturdy and looking really good. Cleaned out the inside of the tank, and now I'm going to be putting this nice Aeromotive lid on. It's a twist screw cap. And then we got the 5 gallon per minute fuel pump. So we're going to be putting those on now. All right, guys, we're gonna take a quick beer break, and today's beer is the Dive Beer. It's a Milwaukee lager by Lakefront Brewery in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So next time you're in Milwaukee, go for a brewery tour at Lakefront Brewery. So in today's beer break, we're talking about the all-wheel drive Thunderbird, a little bit of history. Ford was developing with Porsche in Germany to make several prototypes of an all-wheel drive Thunderbird in 1988 and 1989. So the car is a 1989 production car, and it has around 38,000 miles. And the suspension looks to be stock. It's an AOD automatic car. The transfer case is mounted at the rear of the transmission. The drive shaft runs along the driver's side of the engine and is attached to the front differential. There's like a custom AL front subframe, and the passenger side axle is running through a custom oil pan. The upper control arms and shocks appear to be stock, but the lower control arm and spindles all appear to be custom parts. There's a bump out on the driver's side tranny tunnel to accommodate the transfer case. The Dana system is electromagnetic based controller to transfer torque as needed to any of the set wheels. And this is a full-time all-wheel drive system. I guess they made a few prototypes, and they also made a Cougar all-wheel drive prototype as well. If you look at the wheels, those are like Porsche 928 wheels, which is kind of cool. All right, so if you guys liked a little bit of this history on the all-wheel drive Thunderbird, make sure you comment down below. And if I missed anything, make sure you fill me in so I can learn a little bit more about it. So this has been your beer break. Let's get back to work. All right, so now I'm going to be installing the 4 Innovations fuel pressure regulator. I was looking at different locations. I was going to put it here, or I was thinking on the firewall. I'm actually going to be putting it right here. It's going to be kind of laying on its side. And I'm going to be making a bracket out of some scrap aluminum that I have laying around. And it's going to be going on these 2 mounting studs here. I think this is the best setup right here. I shouldn't have any problems. I was looking at the hood shock right here that's going to come down, but I don't think it's going to have any interference right here. I'm going to make a custom bracket and then get that installed. All right, so here is the final bracket. It's a little offset, but it should work. And it's gonna go right here like this. And then I'm gonna be bolting it on like that. All right, so we have the fuel pressure regulator all installed on the passenger side strut tower assembly studs right there on the top. And it looks really good. And if you see in this video right here, you'll see that the hood strut, you have plenty of clearance from the top of the fuel pressure regulator and where the hood strut drops all the way down into its resting position. So it's a really good fit. I'm really happy with the way that this turned out. All right, so now we're going to be installing the Red Horse Performance fuel filter. I'm going to be utilizing the stock Thunderbird fuel filter shield, and this is going to fit right in here. And I'm going to be using, probably going to have to use a larger band clamp to clamp this down, but it's really nice. I'm able to use the stock shield mount for that application. And then after we get the fuel filter installed, we're going to start installing the stainless steel PTFE lines from 4 Innovations with the Red Horse Performance -10 fittings. So I already installed the first fitting and I got stabbed like 1,000 times because you have to fray out the stainless steel to get the ferrule in and get the fittings in, and it's a whole process where you really got to take your time. All right, so we have the trunk all completed. We have the return line and the supply line all hooked up to the fuel cell. I just have to finish up the wiring for the fuel pump and the fuel sender for the fuel gauge. So the trunk area is all done. I got everything installed, and we're going to wrap up this video and show you the engine bay. All right, so this is the engine bay. It's almost done. I'm just waiting on a few parts. So just to show you right here, this is the supply line. This is coming from the fuel filter, and this is going right into the fuel pressure regulator. And then from on here, there's going to be a line going right here, and it's going to go right into the fuel rails that's going to pressurize the whole system on the fuel injectors. So I'm just waiting for a sharp 90-degree right here from 4 Innovations. They sell these really tight 90-degree fittings. That's going to be perfect right there. So that supply line is going to go right to the fuel rails. And then we have the return line right here, and this is going to go all the way back to the fuel cell. Next is a boost reference port right here. This is going to see boost, and it's going to have a line going all the way right here to the fuel pressure regulator. So anytime we get into boost, it's going to up that pressure to take care of that extra fuel going into the engine. So this is going to wrap up the engine bay. Everything is almost done. I'm just waiting on a few extra parts, but everything's looking really good. Alright guys, going to wrap up this video. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. So in the next video, we're going to be going over engine management. So we have the Ford Racing Predator control pack, and we also have the Quick 6 transmission controller to control the transmission. So we're also going to be covering a little bit of odds and ends, some things that I missed. So that's going to be in the next video. So you got to subscribe and you got to like this video. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. This is Josh with Oxman Garage.